hoist this car, and as I'm working underneath the car, have the car kind of fall. Yo, safety first. And you know what comes before safety? Safety again. Safety first, safety second, and safety third. All right, so when I got the back off the ground enough where I can slide the jack underneath, why does this area kind of look like it's been all ripped and ravaged? Hey, Project Fam, welcome to another video. If you have no idea what I'm doing with this door, then you obviously missed the last video. Catch the last video where you see me kind of organizing the garage and getting things ready. So here I go. I get this door, and the goal is to start laying out these parts on the door, and these parts are the parts that I got out of the car when I bought the salvage. And here I am kind of starting off with a clean slate. Brought the car inside, I don't know the name, putting the door down, I've got my door, I laid out all my parts, let's go. I went out and I purchased 2 new jack stands, so 2 3-ton jack stands, because I wanted to make sure that this car is supported. One of the things I don't want to happen is to hoist this car, and as I'm working underneath the car, have the car kind of fall. So yeah, I want to make sure I have maximum protection. Therefore, I purchased 2 new jack stands. And the key with these jack stands are the flat, see the flat round surface? So the car will rest on top of the flat round surface, which is a nice mirror to the support that's underneath the car. So underneath the car, there's a round support, and these are my old jack stands. You see how the edges are kind of like a rectangle and look like they grasp onto the chassis. So this is actually made for a round support, just like the ones that are beneath the Porsche. So just being a little cautious and making sure I'm safe. Yeah, the difference also, my normal jack stands have almost like a ratcheting device when you lower the stand. This almost has like a pin, and you have to pull the pin out and raise it up. So I'm not really used to that, but it's not a deal breaker. If it's going to make me a little bit safer, then let's go. At this point, what I want to do is make sure that first I have to figure out how this thing works, right? Make sure that pin, all right, put the pin in. There's a lock on the other side of the pin. This thing is safe. What height do I want the cars? See, that's the pin. All right, so that's interesting. Now, what height? Do I want it in the first pin? Do I want it in the second pin? Do I want it a foot off the ground, 2 feet off the ground? And whatever I do on one side, I need to do to the other side. So adjusting the height of both jack stands. Let's take the other jack stand and first of all check and see if they're the same height, because obviously I messed up on that. So get them at the same height. Then I will take the other jack stand around the opposite side of the car and just kind of place them on the side of the car. So when I do jack up the car, they'll be ready just to slide underneath the support. Yo, safety first. And you know what comes before safety? Safety again. Safety first, safety second, and safety third. So I'm just going to use this jack, and I'm going to jack up on the jack point, and I'm going to jack up the rear of the car. And since this car has such a stiff frame, when I jack up the rear, the front will also go up. As I jack up the rear, the front goes up. I will place a jack stand underneath the front of the car. I know it sounds weird, but that's how you have to jack up this car. As I try to jack up the car, everything basically just falls out of my pocket. So let's get everything out of my pocket. That's a battery for the camera, my headphones, my earphones, and I need to find a trash bucket. Just scoot over to the other side of the garage, find a little bucket that I'm not using. You need to always have little trash buckets. That's kind of how you keep your workspace kind of clean. And I'll add it to the front table, and that's a receipt from something that someone bought. And I'll just start putting trash in the bucket. So I'll leave that little bucket on the table. I have a much larger orange 5-gallon trash can on the other side where I'm working. So Just trying to keep my work area clean. Inside my drawer, I get my hockey pucks or my little jack stands. I actually need to buy hockey pucks. They'll be a lot cheaper. So what I'll do is I'll use those rubbers to jack. All right, so that'll help me in jacking up the car on the jacking point. And I'll just crank my jack, turn the handle clockwise to tighten it up. Sometimes I do get disoriented when I'm laying down what's clockwise and counterclockwise, and am I tightening the jack or loosen? There we go. Let's go. If you've seen a car get hoisted in the air in like a garage, it looks pretty simple, right? When I'm jacking the car up in the garage, I take my time. I crank the handle, I get down, I look, I check, I inspect, I crank some more, I look, I check, I inspect. I am in no rush to get this car in the air. So take your time, do it right. Safety first, safety second, and safety third. All right, so when I got the back off the ground enough where I can slide the jack underneath, this is when I realized I've got some damage. Like, okay, that's where I'm gonna put the jack, but why does this area kind of look like it's been all ripped and ravaged? Like, that doesn't look right. I'm supposed to put it there, right? But it's missing something. It's missing a round support like we had in the rear. This is when I first thought, uh-oh, did I buy a car that's got some damage? Was it damaged during the accident? Could someone have, hid this damage from me? Was it damaged maybe when when the forklift hoisted the car onto the trailer? Was it damaged then? Like, I really wasn't sure. But I am 100% certain that there is some damage, not to the frame, to the jacking point. The damage is at the jacking point. So at the very least, I need to have a jacking point welded onto the frame where it belongs, because, what if I take the car in for actual service at a garage and they have to hoist it? I want to make sure they have a proper jacking point. For what I'm doing in the garage now, I will use an additional quote-unquote hockey puck to provide some support to the jack as the car is hoisted in the garage. So now I will slowly lower the rear of the car, and as I lower the rear, the front of the car will lower onto the jack. And I'm going to do this very slowly. And as it comes down, then I'm going to go back underneath the car and take a second, third, and fourth look at this jacking point to make sure that, one, I didn't pinch any lines because it doesn't have the jacking point, and that my extra support there will actually work. Look around the other side of the car. There is the jacking point right there. See that round little thing right there? That's my jacking point. That's what I'm missing on the other side of the car, and at some point I will need to have that welded into place. Let's go back and take another look. So on the side that's damaged, just wanted to look at the damage a little bit more. It looks like it can be moved into place. I don't see any other damage. Those lines, that might be a fuel line actually too, or an airline or vacuum, but yeah, just wanted to take another look. That's what it looks like on the side that has the damage. So doesn't look like the frame is bent or damaged, but it definitely looks like the jacking point is a little beat up. Probably need to get that welded into place. So that's what it looks like. Those are gas lines, I think, too. So very important that when I do jack the car up on that side, I'm not messing with any of the gas lines, if those are gas or vacuum lines. So we're good, but that's what it looks like. There is damage. It's not the end of the world. I will get it repaired. The key for right now is just to make sure that I can jack the car up and I can support the car on that side without causing any additional damage. Not bad. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering why does it look like I'm jacking the car up for a second time, well, I did. I brought the car down. I needed to take another look at it. you know, safety first, second, and third. So I brought the car down, took another look at it, took another look at the damage, and now I'm going to jack the car back up. And at this point, I should feel comfortable with the car kind of raised and working beneath the car. And there you go. I'm not going to bore you with all the details and footage of how you jack up every point of the car, but just know that the front is jacked up a lot more than the rear. The rear is also jacked up. And this is the beginning of every job, making sure that your car is secure while it's in the air, because the last thing you want is for your car to not be stable and you're underneath it. All right, Project Fam, just like hip hop, hey, this video's a wrap.